Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Bidemi. Today, I'll be teaching you the topic Production Possibilities Frontier or COP, which we usually refer to as PPF or PPC. Let's dive straight into the definition. The PPF or PPC shows the maximum combination of two goods or services or goods and services that can be produced by a nation or by a country, given the availability of resources. It can also be defined as the boundary between those combination of goods and services that can be produced and those that cannot. All right. So a PPF or a PPC shows the maximum combination of two goods or services that can be produced by a nation or a country, given the availability of resources. We're going to take a look at the graphs much later, but let's take a look at the characteristics of the PPF curve. Okay, number one, the PPF is downward sloping. All right, means it's negatively sloped. When you see a negative slope like a demand curve, all right, it tells you that there's a trade-off, okay, between the two variables that you are considering. If one goes up, the other comes down. If the other comes down, the other one goes up. All right. So a downward sloping curve is a curve that you would see a trade-off between two variables. Okay. So a PPF is downward sloping. Two, the PPF shows scarcity. Okay, scarcity in bracket means limited resources. Now, why do we have limited resources? Because we have unlimited human wants. I usually do tell my students, human beings never seem to have enough. If you win $1 million today and you go buy an airplane or a Lamborghini, tomorrow you want to buy something else. Next tomorrow you want to buy something else. Next tomorrow you want to buy something else. And the resources that might be needed to produce what you need might not be available at that time. Okay, so scarcity is driven by unlimited human wants. Also, the PPF shows choice. Okay, the reason why we have to choose is because resources are scarce. The reason why we have to choose is because resources are scarce. Number three, the PPF, the shape of the PPF depends on whether there is increasing, decreasing, or constant cost. The shape of the PPF depends on whether there's increasing, decreasing, or constant cost. All right. So I'm going to take that much later. Okay. Very soon. Okay. So increasing means increasing opportunity cost, which is concave to the origin. Decreasing means decreasing opportunity cost, which is convex to the origin. Constant means linear, which is a straight line. Okay. Number four, the PPF considers two goods stroke services at the same time at a time and holds the quantities of all other goods and services constant. That is, we look at a model economy in which everything remains the same, which we usually refer to as ceteris paribus, except the two goods we are considering. Okay, so the reason why, if you look at economic models, the reason why sometimes we just have X and Y, or we are taking a look at two variables on a graph, or three variables, or four variables. We, as economists, we try to simplify models as much as possible so that we can arrive at the conclusion needed to solve a particular problem or needed to prove a particular point, okay, or needed to explain a particular theory. So we try to simplify a model. It doesn't mean that we take away the most important things that are needed in the model. No, we focus on what we need to do while we assume that all other factors remains the same or they are constant for that time, for the time being. Okay, so the PPF considers two goods at a time and holds all other goods and services constant, meaning that we look at the model economy in which everything remains the same. Okay, so number five. So this where we're going to be expatiating further. Number five, PPFs can be used to demonstrate a opportunity cost. Okay, I already explained that when there's a negative, when a curve is negatively sloped, it shows that there's a trade-off. Okay, opportunity cost also shows trade-off. We're going to take a look at that when we are explaining increasing, decreasing, and constant opportunity cost. B, efficient production. So the PPF or PPC also shows efficient production, which could be productive efficiency, allocative efficiency, or non-Pareto efficiency. Number C, letter C, the PPF shows economic growth. Now, let's now take a look at the opportunity cost that the PPF demonstrates. Now, increasing opportunity cost. Okay, so the PPF curve in figure 1.2 bows outward. That means it is concave to the origin. We're going to take a look at that. As you keep increasing production or consumption, opportunity cost increases. This is called the law of increasing opportunity cost, which states that when more of a thing is produced, you have to give up one or more of another. Okay, so this is the graph that shows increasing opportunity cost. Okay, first of all, let me explain some elements in this graph. Let me explain some elements in this graph. Okay, every point on this PPF curve, C, D, E, F, H, is efficient. Okay, so but remember that we said efficiency can be productive, efficiency can be Pareto, and efficiency can also be allocated. Okay, so but every point on this curve, C, D, E, F, G, H, is productive efficient. It's productively efficient. Okay, every of these points, C, D, E, F, G, H, is productively efficient. What does productive efficiency mean? Productive efficiency means that a nation or a country is using up its factors of production very well, meaning that there is full employment of resources. Okay, meaning that you don't have waste, meaning that you don't have a bunch of people who are unemployed. Of course, you will still have some elements of unemployment, maybe 5 to 10% within an economy, but productive efficiency simply means the country is using its resources properly. The country is using its resources properly. So C, D, E, F, G, H shows productive efficiency. All right. What about A? A means that the country is productively inefficient. For example, let's say good X is airplanes and good Y is cars. If the country produces 2 cars, yes, that country is expected to be producing 12 airplanes. Okay, if the country produces 2 cars, that country is expected to be producing 12 X-planes, because this is where the point is. So 12 airplanes. But guess what? The country is producing 2 cars and producing 5 airplanes. It means that the country still has resources that have not been used up. Okay, so any point within this curve, we can refer to it as the unemployment of unemployment, or some resources are unemployed, or the country is not productively efficient, is not using up its resources properly, is not making use of its resources properly. So any point on the curve is productive efficient. Any point in this PPF curve is productively inefficient. Okay, I would say unemployment of resources. Some resources are not are unemployed. They are not being used properly. What about B? B is at the moment is unattainable. B at the moment is unattainable. It is unattainable because that country does not have the resources to be able to achieve this at the moment. Okay. So you will see later that this PPF can shift outward. So what will make a country to achieve B, for example? Okay, maybe the country has more capital. We could be financial, we could be human, we could be physical. Okay, maybe the country has the latest form of technology or adopt new technology that enables production to be faster. Okay, so but a country can be able to get to B, that is if okay, some things change within the economy, or some factors, or some things are adopted, like technology, like physical capital, like financial capital, like human capital. So some factors can enable the PPF to shift upward. Okay, but remember, any point within the curve is productive efficient. Any point in is productively inefficient. You have unemployed resources. And on B means it's unattainable at the moment. Can it be attainable? Yes. With the use of, if there are some factors, some forces are present, then it can be attainable. Okay, so that is clear. Now, why does this look like increasing opportunity cost? You remember, increasing opportunity cost is anytime you want to have more of one thing, you have to let go of another, more of another. Okay, for example, if the country wants to have plus one of new car, okay, let me start from here. The country wants to move from wants to start producing cars. So from 0 to 1, that's wants to have that's you're going to produce one car. You have to give up one airplane. Okay, let me use. You have to give up one airplane. So you give up one. So minus one airplane. You're going to have plus one. You're going to have plus one again. Yes, that's you want to start producing more cars. So here you are producing two cars. To move from 1 to 2, that is to D to E, you have to let go of two airplanes. To produce three cars plus one, right here, you have to let go of 12 plus 9, 12 minus 9. You have to let go of 3. You have to let go of 4. You see, this is increasing 1, 2, 3, 4. So we say we call it the law of increasing opportunity cost, meaning that every time you want to have more of something, a unit more of something, you have to give up more of another. You have to give up more of another. Okay. And also, very quickly, I would also want to explain Pareto efficiency. Okay, so what does Pareto efficiency mean? Pareto efficiency simply means there's no how you can satisfy, for example, a group of people. You can meet the needs of some without making some people worse off. Okay, there's no how you can make one person better off without making another person worse off. In this sense, for example, if you want to have plus one right here, so it means you have to net minus one, minus two. So, for example, if people who are willing to take flights from one location to another, if you don't have enough planes, it means, or you not necessarily enough planes, if you are not producing more planes, it means those who want to who prefers taking plane as a form of transportation would have uh, their choice limited because you are producing more cars. So those who love to take cars to their destination, you are meeting their needs while you are meeting more of their needs. While those who would love to take plane as a means of transportation to their destination, it's not good. You are not producing more planes. Okay, that means some of their needs you have to let go some of that to make more cars. So Pareto efficiency is trying to say that you cannot meet the needs of some without making some other person worse off, or you cannot make one person better off without making another person worse off. Okay, and this sense, you are making those who would like to take planes worse off because you are producing less of planes. Okay, so every point on this curve, C, D, E, F, G, H, is Pareto efficient. Every point of this curve. Every point of this curve is also productive efficient. What about allocative efficiency? So allocative efficiency means that are the resources being, are the goods and services being produced? Are they meeting the needs of the populace? Are they meeting the needs of the population? It's something we have to consider. So it's not just enough for a country to produce goods and services. If the people need, for example, new roads, or the people need new schools, or the people need new hospitals, and the the government of that particular country is busy building highways, for example. Of course, the highways are needed, but you have to find out. Or, for example, if a country wants the prices of its goods and services to drop, and it doesn't, and the government is focusing on something else, the question is, are the goods and services being produced, or the way the government of a nation is using its resources, are they meeting the needs of the people? If they are not meeting the needs of the people, it means that country is not using its resources, is being allocatively inefficient. Okay, it's being allocatively inefficient. However, if the country is using the resources in such a way that it's going to meet the needs of people, it's going to make, let me say, make people happy. Make people happy not in terms of, oh, make people happy to improve their standard of living, and the collective people are happy about that, then that country is being allocatively efficient with its resources. So allocatively efficiency means that the goods and services being produced has to meet the needs of people. Has to meet the needs of people. Okay, so allocative efficiency means that the goods and services we produce has to meet the needs of people. Okay, so productive efficiency on that PPC curve or PPF curve, Pareto efficiency on that PPF or PPC curve, while allocative efficiency, it could be any point on this PPF curve. We might not be able to tell. But one thing about allocative efficiency is allocative efficiency occurs where marginal social benefit, okay, equals to marginal social cost. Okay, so allocatively efficiency occurs where marginal social benefit equals marginal social cost. Okay, so it looks like this, more like this, like a demand and supply curve, marginal social benefit, you have marginal social cost. So when you have something like this, like an equilibrium, then you say the country or the resources are being allocatively efficient, okay, because it's meeting the needs of people. Okay, so let's go further. So I've explained the concept of increasing. So you have to give up more to have more of this, okay, more and more of this. What about constant opportunity cost? Let's take a look at constant opportunity cost. What about constant opportunity cost? So let's see. So here it says in figure 1.2, point A is attainable but inefficient, shows that resources are not fully employed in producing good X and good Y. Point B is currently unattainable. This means the resources are insufficient to produce good X and Y. It is essential to state that when there is technological progress and change and accumulation of capital or capital accumulation, the PPF can shift upwards. Point B can be attainable. Technological change is the development of new goods or better ways of producing goods and services. On the other hand, capital accumulation is the growth of resources, which includes human capital. That means, remember, financial capital, human capital, and physical capital. All the points on the PPF, C, D, E, F, G, H, shows that resources are fully employed to produce goods X and good Y. Now, for constant opportunity cost, it means that every time for example, you need one more unit of this, plus one, plus one, plus one, plus one, okay? You have to give up the same amount, 12 minus 10, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you have to give up the same amount to have more units of good Y. Okay, so you have to give a constant amount. Every time you want to produce one more unit of a car, or two cars, or three cars, you have to give up two airplanes, two airplanes, two airplanes. So you have to give up the same amount to have one unit of another. That's what constant opportunity cost is. What about decreasing opportunity cost? So let's take a look at decreasing opportunity cost. Let's see what I have as constant opportunity cost. I said the PPF in figure 1.3 is linear or a straight line. This occurs when the opportunity cost stays the same as you increase your production or consumption of one good. Now, what about decreasing opportunity cost? The PPF curve in figure 1.4 bows inwards. As you keep increasing the production or consumption, opportunity cost decreases. And you can see in this sense right here, you can see, for example, that, for example, 20 minus 15 is 5, 15 minus, so you can see this is decreasing 3, so to have one more, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So if you need one more unit of something or to produce more unit of another for decreasing opportunity cost, you have to give up less of the other good. All right, we are going to give up less. So increasing, give up more. Constant, the same. Decreasing, give up less. Okay. So I've also explained efficient production, productive, allocative, and Pareto. I've done that already. Okay. Let me see what we have here. Any point on the PPF is productive, efficient, and Pareto efficient. Any point inside the curve is productively inefficient. Productive efficiency is when all the factors of production are fully employed. While Pareto efficiency is when nobody can be made better off without making somebody else worse off within the society. However, allocative efficiency shows whether what is being produced satisfies consumer demand. It is not easy to tell on the PPF curve. Thus, the point of allocative efficiency is the point on the PPF at which the marginal benefit equals marginal cost. This point is determined by the quantity at which the marginal benefit curve intersects the marginal cost curve. The marginal benefit of a good or a service is the benefit received from consuming one more unit of it. We measure marginal benefit by the amount that a person is willing to pay for an additional unit of a good or service. Marginal cost is the extra cost incurred in producing additional good or service. Okay? So I also mentioned that can an economy achieve point B? This B here, I said yes. This B right here, this one, B, this point B. Yes, they can. So how does the PPF shows economic growth? The PPF shows economic growth when the PPF shifts outward. Okay. Here it shows that both, for example, you have aircraft, you have automobiles. So you are producing from 600 to 750, from 400 to 500. Yes. What about when just one of them moves? For example, automobiles, you are producing more automobiles while aircraft stays the same. It is also economic growth. So economic growth on the PPF shows an outward shift. It could be the two variables. For example, in this, aircraft carriers and automobiles, but in the other one right here, it is air carriers and just automobiles. All right. So both of them both demonstrate economic growth. All right. So thank you very much. In our next class, we're going to take a look at the basic economic problems or the key economic questions that nations do ask. All right. See you in my next class. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to share this with someone who needs this information. Okay. Bye and God bless.